tell me about how you felt about your financial situation before you started my program.
Unstable, scared, unclear, kind of hopeless.
Hopeless is that's the answer.
Yeah.
Because we tried a lot of different things. I think I tried making all kinds of spreadsheets. I tried different software, and Kelly signed us up as my Father's Day present. And it's so great that she did that, because I wasn't really willing to invest in our financial future, really. I mean, I was willing to invest in time and energy and worry, but I wasn't able to say, all right, well, let's make space for this in our wallets and in our schedules. And I remember being in that first, going to that first session and thinking, we can't even get through a month without overdrafting. Why does it make sense for us to start paying this person money to give us advice that we know we should take anyway? But it was very clear quickly after that that it was worth it and valuable, because I don't even think we overdrafted that first month after we spoke with you.
But it felt like, if I can hear you correctly, that how can I afford to pay for something when I'm struggling with my money to begin with?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not going to learn anything new. I already know it's like a diet, eat less, exercise more kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so could you paint a picture of the state of affairs, of your financial situation when you started? We understand how you felt, but what was the reality? Were you flush in your bank account? Was your bank account tight?
We were, no, our bank account was tight. We were also doing well in our jobs, so we couldn't square that circle. And it was, so we were making as much money as we ever had, but we were still in the exact same situation, making, every month just overdrafting, every month saying, having to pick, why can't we afford this thing that we want or need, or, so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then why did you seek wealth coaching? I think you alluded to it earlier with the misses.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been talking about it, and we had both been interested in finding some solution. And so Kelly found you. We were referred to you by a friend, and so we so that's how we found you. And honestly, I didn't really know how to find a wealth coach, but we're glad we did.
Yeah, me too. So how long did it start taking to feel better about your situation and then seeing results?
Immediately. I mean, maybe not so much. That the first month was probably a little hard, but at the end of the month, it's not like it was like a light switch and it turned on and turned off, but and then all of a sudden everything was fine, and all we had to do was just this meeting with you. But it did feel like there was just a weight lifted. And I think the first thing that I noticed was that we were able to talk a little bit better about money with ourselves. That's
what I was going to say. I don't know, confidence wise, if it set in immediately, because I'm a bit of a doubter, when it comes to finances. And But I did feel like it was like marriage counseling. You know?
Yes.
It was a nice intermediary between the two different ways that we look at our finances. And I think we had felt for a while like we were on different pages about things, and kind of immediately it was like, okay, like this is our shared goal, and this is how we are together approaching it, and that was the change for me first.
Yeah, we've definitely, I mean, we've definitely benefited from the cash and prizes that have come with this program, but I think more than that, our benefit is really just the communication that we've been able to have as a couple. And I think there have been definitely times when we were able to just kind of go through step by step in our monthly call with you and say, well, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? And that was a really just a good catalyst for us to discuss with each other without getting into, oh, well, this was that thing from 4 years ago. And then all of a sudden we're not talking about finances, so we were able to really drill down into the specifics of what we needed from our finances without getting into old arguments or anything like that. And those things have really just kind of dissipated. So that's been great.
So kind of I'm hearing like even like the feel like the less stress, the no fighting over the money is almost as valuable, or not even more valuable maybe than the monetary money that showed up, the money in your bank account, or your assets rising, or your debt going away.
I think they're both as equally valuable to me, and I feel like I saw the change in our relationship first, and then the change in our bank account followed. Not long after.
Yeah, and like, not to make a jump off this question or anything, but like there have been those soft kind of differences, specifically around the choices that we've been able to make around our jobs, and the choices that we've been able to make around the things that we feel like we need and the things that we feel like we want. We're able to make those choices and have those conversations more deliberately.
Yeah, just talking about mainly, I feel like makes you richer. So what would you say was your average bank balance before you started, and then your average bank balance now? Not like a good month or amazing month, just kind of like, oh, I look at my bank and that's a normal number for me, before you started and now.
Well, I would say that our average bank balance was, depending on the time of week, it was the amount of my paycheck, and then it went in a 45-degree angle to zero. Before, that was the goal, right? The goal was paycheck zero, paycheck zero,
Yeah.
and that was it. And we're trying to stay above zero.
Right.
So we had no buffer.
Right.
We had no prudent reserve. It was just what was coming in, and do a God, please make sure that keeps coming in.
And we also have the shell game of like, this can be our prudent reserve.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll put it into this account, and then we'll move it over to that account.
Yeah.
And so that was,
tricking ourselves,
confusing, and
yeah,
putting things into various little categories and stuff that were, couldn't decide on a system of how that worked best either. So.
Yeah.
And then what does today look like?
Today is, we have no credit card balance. We have paid off our student loans. We have a prudent reserve of all of our monthly expenses, and we're growing that. So we are debt free and growing.
Awesome. I mean, it's really a fantastic story. Then how much did you feel like you had to sacrifice to get these results?
I don't feel like we sacrificed. I think we learned about what we were sacrificing, because you had us do an exercise where we went through and rated the purchases that we were making, and said, all right, give this, based on the Fibonacci sequence, is this a 13, an 11, is it a 1? And so we went through and we realized, well, this McDonald's that we bought for the kids, that was definitely a 1, but we were doing that, multiple times a week, and it was building up. So then all of a sudden we were spending all of this money on all of these ones that could have equaled, 113, that would have just really, so now we're able to say, well, this is a 13. This is something that we really care about. So let's buy it, and let's get rid of these 1s and 2s and 3s. And so so that's what I mean when I say I don't feel like we sacrificed, because I feel like the things that we purchase are the things that we want more and more. And the things that we don't buy are the things that are impulse purchases that in an hour, in a week, we realize we didn't want in the first place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that you learn to focus on the value that the thing provided rather than look at the price. Oh, it's a little price. And you were bleeding yourself with those little prices, low value items.
Yes.
So how did you feel during the experience? Because everybody knows at the end, when you get the grand prize, when you slay the debt, our mind says it's going to be amazing. But how did the process feel during it through? Was it hard? Was it fun? Was it drudgery?
It was fun for the most part. I think it was kind of exciting to meet and to say, this month we get to pay off this amount of something, and this money came in magically from, I don't know where the universe sent it from, and now we are able to or I was brave enough to ask for this, or I was taught the skill to negotiate for this, and it paid off, and now we can direct that income into something else, and so it was like it was fun to learn those skills, and in a way that, I don't know, I think you made it interesting and fun for us to look at it in a new way. And so, I mean, yes, there were like small times where it was like, okay, there's things that you realize that you're doing, and it's not fun. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going through that toll booth this many times a week, and it makes it faster for me to get to work, but that's my Achilles heel of sorts, and then if I look at that, I don't want to look at it, but when I change that behavior, and recognize it, then, then the rewards also start to pay off. So yeah, I don't know, mostly fun.
It's fun and it's hard, but
Yep.
it's also we get the payoff. It's like a learning thing,
Yeah. Would you agree? Like, a thing that I think is, when I think before people start, it looks like it's going to be 100% sacrifice, 100% pain, and only when I get my grand prize am I going to be like, yay. But I found that most people find it enjoyable 80% of the time. I mean, the other 2% of the time you get paid.
There were things there, we were able to do so much more working with you than we had before, I feel like, or with a calmer, way to go about it. So I think, I was surprised that we were able to go on this vacation and not sweat the details of like what we're spending here and there. And that was just a real gift to be able to like have that freedom, or to,
again, with the arguing too,
right?
Because the freedom of doing that without arguing, that's the vacation, right? We're on a vacation and we don't have that conversation,
Right.
It's amazing. And also I just wanted to say, like, there was one month where we had some guests over and we realized, oh, we've double booked. We just need an hour, guys. We're going to go and talk to our wealth coach, and we went into our office, and we live in a New York apartment, so they could kind of hear us through the door. And we came out, and they said, "Who laughs so much with their financial planner?" You know, like, and it was like, we do. You know, we really, you know, I think if we weren't having so much fun with the process, that we wouldn't have been sustained. And you know, but it was ups and downs because, you know, as you remember, there was last year around this time, a couple months longer than this time, and we had I had been working myself to the bone, and we had spent some money on we had actually spent some money on a vacation that I didn't feel like I got the rest from, and we came back and we had our session, and I was frustrated because when I was on the vacation, I had a lot of wants. I had a lot of, I want to live here. I want to buy this, you know, this mansion or whatever that's over here. And I started to feel like that was never going to happen, that our student loans were going to be in our way forever. And, you know, it was a really interesting moment where we were kind of rolling along in our monthly, you know, call, and he said, "All right, wait a minute, let's just stop." And we did, and, you know, and we said, "Well, what is the thing that, you know, do you believe that we're going to be able to slay this debt?" And at that moment, I had to say no. I didn't, and so that's when we stopped, and we said, and you drove us to say, "All right, well, let's really commit to figuring out a way to like kickstart this. What if we like came up with some astronomical number? What would be an astronomical number that you could pay off in 2 or 3 months?" And we came up with that astronomical number. And you said, "All right, now let's get creative." And we did it. We did it in spades, and that began a momentum that carried us through the rest of this year to really just a few weeks ago, or a few days ago even, where I was able to say, wow, we no longer have that debt that I felt like was going to be something that was going to be in the way of our retirement.
Mm-hmm. How much was it?
So originally, when we started working with you, our student loans totaled somewhere around $118,000.
Oh, my toes curl. Yes. And they're gone.
Yeah. And it was right. And we at that time, when we were talking, before we were speaking with you, we were basically paying the minimum on all of them. And so they weren't going anywhere. So in that first year, we paid down, I think, a lot, like somewhere around $60,000, but it felt like with everything else that we were doing, and, you know, that it was still there, and it was always going to be there.
Yeah.
And now it's disappeared. It's like a house guest that left, and we're just
Yeah.
we're just grateful there.
It's crazy. I remember you told me the story that you plugged in the monthly payments and it said it'd take 10 years to pay it off, and you ended up paying it off in 10 months. So did you work harder? Did you work extra hours? Did you move your bed into the office? Because people are going to think, okay, well, the only way to make that happen is by grinding. And did you feel like you had to grind to get it? Or
no, I think there were several things. I think we had to start thinking about, like, well, what is available? And also, so there were some people in our lives who had said that they wanted to help us, and we took them up on that help. And it wasn't a lot, but I think when you start asking the universe for the things that you want, that and this is from you, you know, you ask the universe for the things you want, and the universe responds. Another thing was that, you know, as I was saying, we live in New York, and our New York rent is New York rent. And so you know, we I went and negotiated with our landlord, and I found out that I'm actually really good at it. It was something I was really scared to do. I expected that maybe I'd get like $50 off or something like that, and they knocked off $300. No, just over $300 of our monthly rent for the year. And I was so good at it that when I went and I had an opportunity to change my jobs, I used those same skills to negotiate my salary, and I increased my salary by like 50%, 40%, something like that. I'm trying to do the math. I think it was probably more like 30%, but and that has been an astronomical change, because that has also and we were able to make choices. Kelly has been able to work the correct amount of shifts that for at her job that keep her healthy and keep our family functioning. And we have not felt any financial pinch from that. And in fact, she is kind of growing in her career in ways that she wouldn't have been able to if she was hustling just for the dollars.
It's true. And I was definitely hesitant to have that conversation with my boss. And, it turned out to be not a big deal. And, it was something that kind of, built my trust in my boss and our relationship actually, and it was reassuring to know that like they were able to work with me on that, and that I do work in a flexible environment. And, there are other opportunities for me there that I wasn't so aware of before I decreased my hours. So that's very, that was really, and it happened in a very timely manner as well.
You realized you're supported, that your dreams are possible, that you can dream big. Is that kind of what you're saying? That if you
and that we're allowed to have the things that we feel like we deserve.
Yes. Oh, I think that spoke straight to my heart. So why do you guys think you were so successful?
I think it's the empty cup analogy, right? Like we really tried to come to this interaction, with an empty cup and say, let's see how this can work, and not get in the way. Let's see what Treese has for us, and just embrace it. And I think there's I really think that's it, honestly. And just being willing to be a little uncomfortable for a little while pays off so big.
So big.
And to know that we had monthly check-ins, and and that was going to be like a touchstone for us, and that I could text or email you if I had something come up immediately, but I knew that we were going to have this meeting, and I was going to have a chance to have a place where Paul and I got to discuss things. I would write a couple things down. We would have our goals for the month, and we were going to circle back to and then just keep ourselves on track. And I think that having that, and having you as a guide and a mediator and inspiration, really helped. And I think that the monthly meetings, at first when I saw the plan of, this, of a monthly meeting, I was kind of like, I don't know if we need it every month. And, it seems pricey, like, I just wasn't sure I was willing to go there. And I feel like, it's been such a gift, and like, I don't think about that cost and at all now. I think it's, I know it's a 13,
Well, if you do the cost, if you do the analysis, right, we found somewhere in our budget $118,000 in 2 years, and all it cost us was, that is a good return in anybody's book.